Let's make the best strawberry cake and learn a few tricks for beginners. Now, this flavor cake that I made, I would not recommend making it in a sheet cake because it was way too soft. If I would have had time to freeze it, it wouldn't have been so bad, but I was in a rush to make the cake because it is for myself. The first layer is a strawberry tres leches cake, which is simply a strawberry cake. You poke holes in it and you mix up 3 different types of milk: evaporated milk, sweetened condensed milk, and whole milk, and you just pour it over the cake. So the cake is really wet. If you look on the corner, you can see it dripping, which is why you should not use this type of cake for a sheet cake. It's supposed to stay in the pan, y'all, but I just be doing stuff. But you can do it too. I'm going to teach you how to make it stable. Then I added some diced strawberries. I just used the thingy that you use to chop up vegetables. Yeah, I used my strawberries with it. So I just poured the strawberries on top of this and smoothed it out. Now, y'all, it is a lot better to work with frozen cakes, and you're going to see in a minute that my cake started to fall apart. It doesn't really take away the freshness of your cake. If you wrap your cakes in plastic really well and just freeze them, not for too long, I wouldn't freeze them for too long at all, maybe honestly a week top. Once you take it out the freezer and get ready to use it, decorate it, by the time it defrosts, it's going to be fine. Since this cake has filling, you want to use buttercream and surround it, that way the filling doesn't leak out of the cake. The next layer is just white cake, and I use strawberry puree. I just pureed some strawberries and mixed it in, and that's what this layer is. Now the next layer, I was really getting beside myself, y'all. This is a vanilla cake. I poked holes all in it. I filled it with Jell-O, not just any Jell-O. So basically, you make Jell-O and mix in 8 ounces of cream cheese, pour it on top, and I'm just going to try to put the recipe in the description because it's a lot to this one layer. Now, I know my page has been controversial about gloves. Yes, if you were doing that for someone else's cake, what I just did, of course you would put gloves on. This is my cake though. And I'm trying to build a community to give people tips who don't know how to decorate cakes. Like when I first started doing cakes, it was so hard to find ideas and find people who are willing to tell you information. But I've been doing this since 2017. Honestly, the information's out there now if you look for it. But anyway, if your cake falls apart on you, pack it back together the best way that you can. And then you want to cover it, completely covered in buttercream. This is whipped cream. I don't know why I thought I can use whipped cream when the cake was already falling apart as it is. But do as I say, not as I do. If your cake is crumbly, falling apart, it's not frozen, it's not stable, your best bet is to get some buttercream and cover your cake in buttercream. Now, my cake was so uneven on the sides that I just went ahead and chopped it all around the sides just to make it even. I didn't want my cake to just be, disproportionate would be the word. And not just for this cake. Anytime you're doing a sheet cake or something where the edges need to be like really crisp, just get you a knife and carve it. And like I said, you should be working with a chilled cake. Even if your cake isn't frozen, it should not be room temperature at all because you're setting yourself up for a mess. So while I'm cleaning the board and getting this mess up, I just want to let y'all know that I do actually work in a bakery. I'm not going to say which bakery because I don't know if I should, but I work at a corporate bakery. And I was doing cakes on my own before I started working there, but since I've been working there, I have learned some of the secrets to doing cake. Number one, what people should know that they don't know is that when you go to a corporate grocery store, we're not baking anything in the store. This stuff gets baked in factories and then it gets shipped to us. It's frozen and it's wrapped in plastic. Now, I don't want to keep bringing up the past because I do on my page to be full of positivity. But y'all was trying to talk about me freezing my cake for a day before I did it. I'm just going to tell y'all, when we have cakes in the freezer, they're in there for months. Yes, I said months. But I'm not throwing shade because they are honestly very good once they defrost. Once we start working with them and get them together and put the ice in and stuff and they defrost, you'll never know. You would never know. Anyway, back to the cake I'm doing. Like I said, even if this cake was frozen or not, you always want to add a crumb coat. Y'all, I'm very random, but at the end of the day, you can fast forward until you get to the point where you feel like you need help with. So y'all see the front where it's bulging out right there? That's exactly why we're doing the crumb coat. Like, you fill those gaps in with buttercream. Honestly, I'll do a better tutorial when I'm not doing my own cake, because I do want to be as helpful as I can. I feel like that's the purpose. So just pretend I'm using buttercream, y'all. It's not going to make that big of a difference. It's just that this whipped cream I tried to make was so runny. I'm not going to lie, I don't make whipped cream, and I probably won't make it again. So if you were to put buttercream, whipped cream, whatever, just smooth it out really well. Get all the crumbs locked in. Then you want to freeze the cake again. Yeah, freeze it. I mean, not till it's frozen, just till it's really, really, hard. And then you want to go back with your second layer of icing, because you know those crumbs are locked in, as they say, and you're not going to be smoothing crumbs all out into the final coat of icing. Y'all, I'm not a teacher. Don't criticize me too much. I'm trying to help as much as I can. I've been doing this for a while, and I don't know what you know and what you don't know, but I'm trying, I'm trying. Now, what I did around the sides of the cake, I just squeezed straight up with the leaf tip. It's called a leaf tip if you want to get it. Just look up leaf tip. So now I'm going over the top of the cake. I'm just smoothing out the icing with the spatula, covering up gaps so that way I can get a spatula and make it smooth. The spatula that I'm using, that I just had, is called an offset spatula. You need to get one if you don't have one. And then this blue y'all, I cannot talk. That blue one, silicone bowl scraper. Now, if y'all look at the top of this cake, I was trying to do a burn cake so you see an image underneath, and the burn method did not work for me, so I cannot give you any tips, tricks, or any advice because I didn't look it up. I just did my own thing, and it didn't work. I really hope that so far y'all have learned something that you haven't learned before. I know this tutorial is lengthy. Like I said, you can skip through if this stuff is common knowledge to you, but I'm trying to cater to people who really don't know what they're doing. Y'all can nicely leave a comment on tutorials that you want to see or advice so I can do a better tutorial. Now, I'm going to be random and I'm going to not know how to say things because that's just me. So right here, this is how I kind of like keep, a guide. That's how I guide myself. So I do it first with a straight line, then go back with like the design line that I'm doing. Some people get like these stamps. They have these impressions for this, but it don't have to be perfect, and you can really eyeball it. This is a Russian piping tip, y'all. They have them for all sets, all types of flowers. It's called a Russian